Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to HCS Pro Talk, your weekly Halo esports podcast. My name is Josh, aka JK Fire. This week I'm joined by the man with no hat, because he forgot it, unfortunately. But in the plaid, Will, aka Mr. Mayhem. How are you doing on this Monday evening? Ooh.
I'm doing all right. Is it a spooky one day? Did I miss something?
I don't even know why I fucking did that, but you know, yeah, it's not even October yet. Here I am.
Yeah.
As somebody who's not the biggest fan of Halloween, and I do that. Fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I forgot to say?
What's that?
This is episode 249 for the week of August 21st, 2022. The title of this week's episode is The Gentleman's Agreement. And Uncle Pumpy with the 3-month resub. You, sir, get a woo! And thank you so much for that sub. And Hemvar, thank you for the follow. Greatly appreciated as well. Welcome. Justin, welcome as well. He says he's got his Halo cookbook today. And then he asked if that's a new Pro Talk shirt, Josh.
Do you want to show it off?
Is it, though?
It is.
Oh, is it? Oh, I think it is. Yes. Glad you noticed. Yes, this is the new Tri-Blend shirt over at the HCS Pro Talk store. On the back, it says HCS Pro Talk on the top. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. This just looks cooler. So yeah, go check it out. It features the black logo instead of the color logo.
It's black on black all around.
It is. Mm. So yeah, I got this one. I have a gray shirt as well. It's in multiple colors. You can go check out the store right now. It's available right now. Little shameless plug of the merch there.
Go check it out.
Hell yeah. Available right now. All right, Will, do you want to know what's coming up on this week's episode of the show?
I think I already know, Josh, but let the people know what they have coming their way.
Yes, you are well aware. And then for the folks at home, here is what's going on. On this week's episode of the show, we have FFAs for days, tournament announcements and recaps, of course. We have our topic of the recent discourse around the Gentleman's Agreement. And then a Halo Infinite update is inbound along with a rank reset. And something I did not include here because it happened literally today as I was writing the show notes. I'm going to shit on Space Station some more, but that's going to come up later on in the show. For the record, I don't like to do this. It's just when you dig yourself into a further hole, it is what it is. And it pertains to the community. It pertains to competitive Halo, so I got to fucking talk about it. But without further ado, let's start on a light note and get into some competitive news. First up, Tools, welcome. He says, I got my Halo cookbook too. Yes, man, mine is in my bookshelf. Yeah. It's got some shit in there. What's up, Hemvar? Ola today too. Oh, we'll talk about that. Don't you worry. Not a lot to talk about there, but we'll talk about that too. But the first piece of competitive news we have, the Halo Rec League FFA Series returns. This is by the Halo Rec League, announcing our Rec FFA Series 3. We're back for another season of FFA action, this time with one time slot each week at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, it'll be taking place on Tuesdays. 7 weeks of qualifying, 2 matches per night. Check in before matches on Face It, earn playoff points for placement, top 16 advance to the playoffs, and it's just for fun. It starts 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, Tuesday, August 23rd, so that's tomorrow. And signups close at 9:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can sign up 10 minutes up until the FFA is about to start. And believe it or not, that's it for the competitive news, because the Ola stuff will be in Rostermania.
That was quick.
It was quick. Because it's not the emphasis of the show, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Your upcoming tournaments of the week presented by NoobCombo.com. Check out NoobCombo.com for all your Halo esports needs, and maybe buy some of their merch too. I'm still eyeing that metal shirt. I might buy that. But either way, daily tournaments, Z League and First Blood daily tournaments are taking place. Go check those out if you're any at all interested. On Monday, August 22nd, that's today, we have the Esports Arena Series E, which is happening right now. But, you know, have separate tabs and all that shit. You get it. HCS FFA Orlando qualifiers for Australia, New Zealand, Mexico, EU, and North America, where first place in each of those gets travel coverage to the HCS Orlando Major. That's pretty fucking cool. Tuesday, August 23rd, we have the Louis V Titans Money Tuesday. Featuring Tools. He's right there in chat. You see him? They'll be doing a Last Spartan Standing tournament, which is awesome as always. They will also be doing an undercard, and they'll be doing a major, like a upper card, right? What's it called?
Main
card?
event.
Main event. Thank you. Jesus Christ, I'm an idiot. Where it's going to be Sentinels versus G1. So you're not going to want to miss that. And then we also have the Halo Rec League FFA series starting up as well. On Wednesday, August 24th, we have the Calgary Halo Ranked Doubles Celebration. Because, yes, Ranked Doubles is coming tomorrow. Actually, no, it's not. Ranked Doubles is coming 2 weeks from tomorrow, I think. Am I wrong on that? I'm sorry to derail like right away here, but please bear with me.
What are we looking at? I was reading chat and got distracted.
Tuesday, August 23rd at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Never mind. It's not 2 weeks from now. I was thinking about something completely different. Never mind. Forget I said anything about that. So yeah, there's that. Thursday, August 25th, the HCS Open Series North American Top 8 will be taking place. And a couple notable teams didn't even make it to the top 8. We'll talk about that. And then on Saturday, August 27th, we have the Key 64 Halo 5 Throwback Snipers Tournament. That's right, Halo 5 coming back, baby! Tools says, we announced all the matchups on Twitter like 20 minutes ago. Hey, thank you, Tools. I'll check that out. Guns of August Halo CE 3v3 Tournament. I have no fucking idea how that's going to take place. The LCM Gaming Women's 2v2, and then the HCS Open Championships for Mexico, EU, and North America, where the top 2 from each tournament will get travel coverage to the HCS Orlando Major. Again, really fucking cool. What's up, Fresh? Welcome back. Good to see you. Justin says it's probably the longest you've ever gone without derailing, but we did derail on the shirt right off the bat, so not really. It's true.
Yeah.
Very true indeed, but you know, that's the best part. What's up, Martin? Welcome back as well. Good to see you, bud. Also, congratulations on you and Shyway casting the AMD event that was happening over the weekend as well. Or we have results later on in the show. And by later on, I mean like basically soon. There was one thing that I was going to do, which was check out LVT. We're going to do this live because I don't fucking care. All right, here we go. 35 minutes ago. Again, Sentinels versus G1 for the main event. $1,000. $1,000 plus on the line, crowdfunding. $400 plus with crowdfunding. Renegade and Spartan going up against King J and Royal 2.
Okay.
That's going to be a fun one. Royal 2 and King J are like real good friends. Like, and Renegade and Spartan, that's going to be fun. That's going to be fun.
I like it.
That feels more to me like it could be a toss-up than previous 2v2s that they've had. I like that. And then a $600 plus Last Spartan Standing kill race will be taking place as well. And that's going to be fucking awesome. Can't wait. So that's it for upcoming tournaments of the week, presented by NoobCombo.com. Check out NoobCombo.com for all your Halo esports needs. Will, what do we got next?
Rostermania!
Yeah, some news on the Rostermania front. Start with Darkest Hour. This is now going to include Eli Elite, Facty, Rails, and Groovy. Look for them in the future.
Do it up.
Magico and Team looking for visas. He states, I think we will not be able to go to another major, unfortunately, Orlando. We are looking for a Mexican or American organization that can help us process some type of visa to be able to compete and be where we really deserve to be. So, if there's anyone out there that can help, get these guys to Orlando.
They're a great team, so I'd love to see them stateside to compete because I think they deserve it. Yeah, they've put in the work. They have the skill to do so. And yeah.
Awesome. And the big one from today.
Yeah.
Pistola released from Optic.
Yes.
Optic tweeted out a photo of Pistola, said a true legend in and out of Halo. Thank you. I got your Pistola. We look forward to seeing what you add to your historic career.
This was kind of like seeing the writing on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for a very long time. Because literally nothing's been said about Ola in a very long time. The only thing I'll add to this, and I'm not saying that this was the cause of it, But I do know that I recall Hex saying that when you're a player for Optic Gaming, you're not just a player for Optic Gaming. You're also relied upon for content creation and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And we know that Ola didn't do that. So he was never big into streaming. He streamed every now and again, but it was very few and far between. And Ola, to me, just is known for doing his own thing. He kind of goes with the flow. He's very laid back. He's very calm. He's just a great fucking dude. And yeah, like I said, I'm not saying that that's the reason why this happened. It's just the writing was on the wall that he wasn't going to be with Optic forever. Now it's just a matter of where he ends up. Does he end up anywhere? Does he want to still compete? I'm not going to put words in his mouth. It's a decision that he needs to make on his own. I would assume, and again, assuming he makes an ass out of you and me, but I would assume that talks have been had with him behind closed doors about a potential landing spot, you know? But I don't know where he'd land up. I've seen the thing, and Tools, you're right, where he says, I imagine his contract was up since they were signed about 2 years ago from now. Makes absolute sense. It was, like I said, the writing was on the wall. It just seems like it was bound to happen. And there's the talk about, well, what if he joined up with Mickwin? And for those who don't know, Mickwin will more than likely, I believe the answer is just yes, that he'll be playing for Native once he's able to, after Worlds has concluded in this season. And that team has 3 solidified players that they've signed, but the question is, for me, did they sign them through, or did they sign them just to the end of this World season? Because anything can happen, right? And we'll see what happens. But I think that reunion could be really cool. They both obviously have skill. Yeah. We will see. We will see. And thank you, Mar. Love you as always. So yeah. Anything you want to add about the Ola situation?
No, I'm just nothing impactful other than I'm just excited to see where he goes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of teams that want to make a push for Worlds, and if he's available, maybe sign him for the last part of this season and see what you can do.
Absolutely. Cool.
All right. Josh, would you like to run over Scrim recaps?
Absolutely. First and foremost, again, let's do some positive shit here first. Halo Data Hive put out an update. This is by Halo Data Hive, and he says, let's see how this goes with a screenshot of recent Scrim results.
Oh, boy.
So, yes, he's working on it. And he also put out a tweet that I would like to read through that I didn't include in the show notes, but this kind of puts some perspective on things as well. He said on August 17th, so about 5 days ago, he said, honestly, I've lost a lot of motivation to work on Halo Data Hive, but I made some progress in getting the HCS side of the site live again. He said part of the live site. So yeah, I don't blame him. To my knowledge, he's had to do it all alone. And it's a lot of shit to have to go through and compile and make sure everything's set up correctly day in, day out. But to Halo Data Hive, just know that we love and appreciate you and all the work that you do. And yeah, just if Halo Data Hive continues, I really do hope it continues, because like we said multiple times, we desperately need it. So that's what I'll say. All right, let's get to the fun one. I warned Will ahead of time that I was going to rant about this. This is the only real rant that I have for the episode, because our actual topic of the gentleman's agreement, I don't really have a rant for. Just some nice discussion I have planned. So, all right.
Get ready, folks.
This is fun.
Should I do a lap while you...
No, you don't need to do a fucking lap. I'm just irritated. So, Spacestation Gaming. Right? Oh my God, he's going to shit on Space Station again. What else is new? Well, this one I feel is justified. During Snakebite's stream today, And for the record, this is nothing against PJ. He was just rolling with what was happening.
Yeah.
So during Snakebite's stream today, it had come up in the conversation during the stream about Space Station and what they're doing, what they're not doing, so on and so forth. Okay. And a couple of things that was said. Excuse me. Give me 1 second because I'm going to.
You got your notes?
Yeah, I'm going to find this real quick. He said something along the lines of, there's clearly something they need to do and aren't doing it. What's up, Remedy? Welcome back. And I agree. There's clearly something they need to do and they aren't doing it. Makes sense. All right, let's keep the conversation going. So then he said something around like, let's not sugarcoat it. We're all aware. This is what PJ's saying, Snakebite. And then I'm paraphrasing here, but just bear with me. He said that after they got suppressed, if it didn't work out, they'd drop Ace or Tylenol, and now the Collect is the odd man out. He doesn't know what's going on over there. And he also mentioned that he doesn't know how Collect is as a teammate, looking at it all on paper. Okay. Then Elamite entered the chat. And as Elamite being the coach of Space Station, as Elamite came into the chat, PJ Snakebite was going to make some coffee. And I thought that was funny that the timing worked out as well as that did. So this is what Elamite apparently had said during that stream. This is probably paraphrasing at this point, but he said, attitude has been one of our biggest hurdles. Effort levels change game to game. I just want players who don't quit trying mid-game, bench themselves, or do things like remove their Twitter headers, etc. And after 5 seconds of research, it appeared as though he was sending a dig directly to Collect, team member of Space Station Gaming. And I'm like, well, that's fucking shitty to do.
It's all on a live stream too. So
all on a live stream.
There's an audience in front of you.
Yeah, on PJ's stream. I'm like, all right, well, that's fucking dumb. Cool. And then I think Ace came in at one point as well and said, so you think I should be dropped, huh? And Snakebite had said, apparently, if someone has to be dropped, I think it should be you or Tylenol. And at that moment, when I was sent that message, my thought was, thank you, The Office meme. Literally what I've been fucking saying. Except add Elamite to that list. Get the fuck out of here. So, at some point in time, so that's like one part of this entire fucking situation, right? You have your coach of the team coming in and directly or indirectly shit-talking one of your own team members. And then Ace, yeah. I never liked this brother dynamic. This is what really irks me now, is at first I was like, oh, maybe this could work out. Maybe this could work out, having a brother duo on there, coach player, maybe that could bring some cool shit to the team. But after Raleigh, it never fucking worked. I desperately want to know what type of actual coaching Elamite is doing for his fucking team. Because from the looks of it, from the sounds of it, he ain't doing shit. Example number 2. I do not know how this came to be. Okay? I do not know how this came to be. But at some point during that stream of PJ, of Snakebite, Elamite and Snakebite got on a Discord call together and started doing Space Station film review with just the two of them. Okay? So I tuned into that a little bit. And my thought process is, why the fuck do you have PJ doing film review with you when shouldn't you be doing film review with your team? Shouldn't you be communicating all of these types of frustrations and finger poking to your own fucking team and not looking for validation through PJ? Because that's what this fucking sounds like you're doing. The thing that got me every single time during this entire film review session was when Kyle, Elamite, would talk about how things are going on during the game. PJ Snakebite would chime in with what he believes they should do. And then Elamite would reply with, man, and I thought I was speaking crazy over here. And blah, blah, blah. I'm like, bro, Kyle, you're a fucking adult. Bro, you're the coach for a partnered organization. And frankly, your team is awful. What are you doing? What are you doing to help your team? Because I promise you this, going out of your way to talk to PJ live on his stream about deficiencies of your team does not help your team. The scenario I gave was this. If I was a team member of Spacestation Gaming and I heard my coach going behind my back to talk negatively about me and my gameplay, I'd be fucking mad too. This should have never happened. This should have never happened, period. If you want to have a film review session with a different member of another team, fuck it, I guess. Because part of me also is like, you know what? I'm never opposed to people asking questions. I'm never opposed to people seeking to be better, to learn. Because that's how we progress in this world. Asking questions, learning about things. That's exactly how we progress. But to do it live, to take time out of what Snakebite was doing, to then just vent your frustrations about your own team to him in front of other people in a live environment. I've talked about man children on this show multiple times before because it feels like it's the nature of this fucking scene that we're in. Kyle, relatively speaking, I know I'm 30, but relatively speaking, you're old. Okay? You're a grown-ass adult. And you can't even handle your own fucking team. Are you serious? Before you go to any other professional player looking to do some film review on their stream, take a step back, look in the fucking mirror, and realize what you're doing. You're not helping your team at all. Just another example why I don't think you should be coaching that team. It blows my mind. And then, of course, you come to your brother's aid, which is fine. Brothers, I get it. I completely get it. And while Ace may make some clutch kills every now and again, kills that he shouldn't have gotten, trades that he shouldn't have gotten, blah, 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 the team isn't cohesive. I feel as though you guys don't have a leader. I feel like when I listen to things that are happening in scrims, when I listen to things that are happening in tournaments, you guys don't have somebody who is calling things out, calling plays out, getting setups going, and keeping setups as they are. You talked about in that film review session that you have everybody that's just going for their kills. Well, guess what? Instead of just saying that everybody's going for those kills, be a fucking coach and coach them. If you feel that they're going for kills, if you feel that they're acting desperate in situations where they don't need to be, if you feel that they're not playing objective efficiently, then say something and do something about it. Instead of bitching to somebody else online during their stream in front of hundreds of other people. We know Space Station's a fucking train wreck. We get it. We see it. The writing's on the wall. But it's one thing for me to sit here on my high chair and say that, oh, they're fucking terrible. It's another thing to see it in real life happen in front of my own two eyes that their own coach doesn't know how to coach a team properly. And this isn't coming from somebody who's saying that I can coach them. I can't. I don't know. But I can admit that. I can admit that I don't know how to coach that team. I don't know how to coach any Halo team. That's not what I do. And frankly, I don't think you should be doing it either. The last thing I'm going to say about this is the following. I've said it before. I've said it 100 times. I'll say it again. I believe that Ace and Elamite should be gone from the roster. Plain and simple. Tylenol, the only thing I'm going to say about Tylenol is that I still have that statement that he said. It was either Raleigh or Anaheim. It was during one of their like documentary series, I think it was. But there are things that players say and there are things that players do that stick out in my mind, and I hold on to them and I latch on to them because I use them as reference points later on. One of the things that Tylenol had said is that he wants to learn to be a better teammate. I latched onto that when he said that. The reason being is because that's the shit that I want to hear. It's the same thing about Boo Boo Doo Boo staying late or early and practicing more than other players are. That's the type of shit that sticks out in my head. So the reason why I'm not necessarily saying drop Tylenol right off the bat is because I want to give him a little more time to see if he lives up to that expectation of what he set out for himself. He wants to be a better teammate.
The difficult thing with that, though, is if there isn't a team leader, he's not going to learn there.
No, and I agree with you completely. And that was the whole point about me saying that I don't believe Ace is that leader. Does he need to be? Not necessarily. But if you have a team with no clearly defined IGL, in-game leader, what are you going to do? Because in my mind, if you are a roster that doesn't have a defined in-game leader, and I'm not saying, let me make this abundantly clear. I am not trying to say that you definitively need one 100% of the time, no matter what roster you are. The point that I'm trying to make is, if I was them and I don't have a clearly defined IGL, then I would rely further on the coach. And as a result, I don't believe he has lived up to his end of the bargain as well. That's why I'm so mad about this. I already knew they weren't a good team. We knew that they weren't a good team when they kept shuffling around their fourth player trying to figure out what would mix. Nothing ever mixed. And it's funny how you always have a clear denominator out of every situation that they've been in. Ace and Elamite. And yes, you could include Tylenol in there as well, but the reason why I'm not is because I want to give him another chance. Ace and Elamite have been around forever. They don't need a second chance. They should know. I'm just fucking pissed. This should have never happened. I would literally not be acting like this at all if that film review didn't happen. If Elamite went into Snakebite's chat to indirectly talk shit about Collect. In this, and I want to make this abundantly clear. I'm not saying that because Collect listens to the show. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it to be buddy-buddy with him. Like I said, if I was a teammate on that roster and this shit happened behind my back, I'd be fucking pissed. If you cannot work this out, then make a fucking move. And in my mind, in PJ's mind, in apparently a lot of other pros' minds, Ace needs to go. And for me, by association, Elamite should be gone too. I'm fucking dumbfounded. Just another example of people not being able to act like adults.
Trying to think on both sides of the coin here.
Please do.
Not excusing Elamite's actions, because you should never go on a live stream and talk shit about your team like that, right? Or get film review from your competitor, right? I get like someone said in chat, like maybe do it coach to coach behind the scenes, right? Get feedback, get that information. But maybe Elamite has tried so much to get things going, and maybe he does know what he's doing, but the team is just not doing it. Because we don't hear his comms all the time. We don't know what's going on.
That's my problem, is that we don't hear them. If nobody's making that, I appreciate what you're doing. But if nobody is making those calls, I mean, you just literally, you look at, we talked about what Mickman said. I mean, you look at all these other top teams in the game. Like, you have a player or a person to make those calls.
Yeah.
And this team just seems like it doesn't. And if I'm then relying on when I'm literally relying on a member of my team who is supposed to be coaching me, and they're not doing it either, then as a player, I don't fucking know. And like, then the other part could be said, well, why doesn't that player then step up and do it? Well, maybe that player doesn't feel comfortable in doing that. You know?
Maybe the player doesn't have the skills or tool sets yet.
Right. The player just wants to be able to play their specific role, just be a good teammate, whatever it may be, but they're not necessarily in the position to make those calls. It's like, it blows my fucking mind that this even happened. Elamite, if you're going to air your grievances, air them privately. For fuck's sake. Like, this, you're an adult, act like one. Omega says, morning from Australia, gents. Interesting to what the changes will be after Worlds. Maybe SSG contract with the Elams will be difficult to change mid-season. You know, you're very well could be right, Omega. Also welcome. I just strip it down. Build around collect and suppressed. Maybe include Tylenol in there, depending upon what the situation is. Get Ace and Elamite out. Been saying it since basically after Raleigh.
I don't know.
It just feels like that's what needs to happen in my mind. And Epic, that is exactly my point. Just to put a pin in it. He says, sounds to me like Kyle was looking for affirmation that he is right and no one else is on SSG. Yep. And that's another reason why I'm so mad about it. From the things that he was saying, it sounded like he was looking for confirmation that he was right. Just another example of acting like a fucking man-child. If you were a coach, act like a fucking coach. You hear anything coming out about Callus? You hear anything coming out about Royal One? No. You don't.
Royal One did have all the Router 2 shit.
Okay. I agree with you, and I should talk that too. Let's be real. I'm talking about from a coaching perspective, though. Do you hear anything about Mikowski on G1? No. You don't hear anything negative about other coaches because they're coaching their fucking team. You hear anything about Hoaxer? No. He's coaching his fucking team. Coach your fucking team. God damn it. I'm so fucking mad about this. He's literally one of my favorite players in the Halo 3 days. I'm like, I'm not going to sugarcoat things. You guys know it's the show. I don't sugarcoat shit. What he did was fucking stupid. I'm going to call it out as it is.
All right. You've said it like 3 times, though.
I have. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm done. That's it for scrim recaps. Hey, Will, would you mind going through some tournament and league recaps?
Yeah, Josh.
Thank you. Fuck.
Esports Arena Series E results. Just rolling right into it.
Please.
4th place, Forbidden Fruit. Woo, it's hot in here. Envor, Hysteria, Tony 2, Turton, Hativ. 3rd went to Native Gaming, Minds, Piggy, King J, Avatar. This just feels like a weird fucking transition now. All right. 2nd went to Oxygen Esports, Triton, Bohm, Nemesis, and Common. And 1st went to Cloud9, EcoStellar, Bound, and Penguin. Next up, the HCS FFA series for Australia and New Zealand. Your top 4 are in 4th place, Slays. 3rd, Scoobmeister.
Scoob.
2nd went to Berserk, and 1st, Sways.
And then also, just real quick, Epic said Royal One isn't really a coach. He's a call for power weapons and spawners. PJ and Brad are the leaders and coaches on Sentinels. Absolutely, and that's fine. I guess the point I was trying to make is that every team has that player or coach to keep the team gelled together in decision making, setups, whatever it may be, in times where things aren't going their way. They always have somebody, these top teams always have somebody to pull things back in, reel them back in, get things reset up, get minds right, whatever it may be. And SSG doesn't. Thank you, Epic. Go ahead, Will.
Back to the HCS FFA series. We'll move on to Mexico. In 4th place was Dark Killer. 3rd went to Gambino. 2nd went to Hades, and 1st went to Tapping Buttons.
Again.
Yes, yet again.
Yet again.
The FFA series for EU. 4th place, Clonally. 3rd went to Legend. 2nd, Snipe Drone, and 1st, Shady.
Nice.
And then for North America, 4th place was Matthias. 3rd was Bop. 2nd was Nesty. Nicety?
Nicety. Is it Nicety or Nicety? Either way. Sorry.
And 1st went to Porky J.
Nice. Omega said Scoobmeister was fire in the open series, doing well on keyboard and mouse.
Oh, wow. I didn't know it was KBM.
Scoob on the KBM.
Well, it's a little more impressive.
It is. Gotta love Scoob. Zoink Scoob. Go ahead.
Yeah. HCS NA Open Series. This was from August 18th.
Yeah.
Your top 4. Proton Gaming, which included Posey, Fantasy, Rob the Turtle, and Haynes. 3rd went to E United, Manny, Suspector, Ryan, Noob, and Rain. 2nd, Space Station, Collectile, and also Preston Ace. And 1st went to Complexity, Cycle, Monster, Vetra, and Neuronical.
Good for Complexity.
Yeah. What does that mean for E United? AMD Halo
Literally
Infinite
nothing, Will. Don't be stirring that fucking pot. Good Lord.
You know... AMD Halo Infinite 5K 2v2.
It's not LAN. Go ahead.
2nd went to Tall Man and Short Man, which was Kilimanjaro and Stress.
Love it.
Wonderful name. 1st went to Tilted Towers. It was Drunken Burton.
Yeah, and again, shout out to Martin for getting on the casting desk for this one, as a matter of fact.
Very nice.
Yes.
Very nice. Next up, the HCS Open Series for EU from August 21st. 4th place went to Black Hand. It is Ebby, Mista, Glory, and Lunny.
Don't pay your teammates in crypto.
3rd went to Quadrant, Chick, Shad, Nurix, and SLG. 2nd went to Navi. It was Mighty, Kimbo, Jimbo, and So Snaky. And 1st went to Ascend, Snipe, Drone, Respectful, Mose, and Legend.
Back on top.
Once again.
Yep, they just took a little week off. They're like, Navi, you can have this one.
We're like going to ramp up back into where we need to be. Open Series for Mexico, again, 21st of August, 2022.
Yes.
4th place, Event Horizon. I Not Jerry, Sobrio, Blood Reina, and Borgie.
So who is that if it's I Not Jerry? Is it Tom?
Ooh. Oh, might be.
Ooh. Tom and Jerry, great show. Great show.
It was good. Yeah. 3rd place went to Just for Fun. This was a 10 news, Bullet, Grimsty, and Noble.
That works.
2nd went to CN, Dragonak, Humgel, Substers, and Dolan Season. 1st went to Pittsburgh Knights, Drift, Pool, Atso, and Tapping Buttons.
God, who would have saw that coming? Crazy.
All right. Open Series for North America. Top 8 qualified teams move on to Thursday. And they are G1, of course, with Boobadooboo, Predevinator, Swish, and Squall Eye. Complexity, Cycle, Monster, Neuronical, and Vetra. E United, Manny, Rain, Ryan Newbins, Spectre. ESA Red, Too Nice, Complexion. Kashana and Paradigm.
Those are upper bracket.
Upper bracket teams, correct. And moving on to the losers bracket team.
Oh, I love you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, just for you, Josh.
Thank you. I was so thinking that you were going to fucking say it after the pause of like, you motherfucker. Well, you're good. Okay, good. All right.
We have Native Gaming, which is Aperture, King J Mines, and Piggy. Crowd Pleasers, Kratos, Flourishly, Huss, and Super CC. Oxygen Esports, Bohm, Common, Gilkey, and Triton. And
Anime Demons.
Anime Demons 2.
I think the 2 is supposed to be an S.
Yeah,
Anime Demons.
Fuckers. Hotshot Ghost, Carmea, Mortally, and Mortality. Prozelli.
It's okay. The only thing I wanted to add to this is you said that it was a really weird transition into the Tournament League recaps. Well, guess what? It doesn't need to be a weird transition because guess who didn't make it?
Oh, yeah. Well, it took us a minute to get there. But yeah, Space Station, they fucked up.
And Fnatic. Both did not make it to Thursday. Lamau, dude. All right, go ahead.
Moving on to the HCS Australia New Zealand Regional Championship qualifier. We have your top 4 teams here. Mm-hmm. Digital Nation, which was Rice, Newbles, Lunchy, and Tech-Dre? Yeah, Tech-Dre. We'll go with Tech-Dre. Third went to second to none. Well, to a couple here. Chef? Grand Last Shadow, Hendra LOL, Inspector. And then top 2, Team Immunity. Hef, Dante, Bino, and ADZ. And then Kit Bash, Scoobmeister, Lolly, Lilf, and Divinity. I'm horrible with names, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And that's it. That's all we got for Tournament League recaps.
Thank you very much, Will, for going through that. I appreciate it. All right. So for all intents and purposes, I should be done with the rants now. Okay. I should be. We'll see where the discussion goes for the topic of this week, which is the gentleman's agreement.
Fucking GAs, man.
Fucking GAs. You want to switch the screen over to our topic?
You know what? Yeah, I'll press the button now.
I appreciate you.
Wanted to make sure we were there first.
Yes, we are officially there. Let's talk about the gentleman's agreement. Now, actually, before we even get into the gentleman's agreement, there is a tweet that went out today, 38 minutes ago.
38 minutes ago. This is news to me.
So apparently the Bandit rifle, this is a leak. The Bandit rifle, which is supposedly going to be the DMR in Infinite, gameplay got shown. It's got bloom. It's got major fucking recoil. And
well, you have to balance it with everything else, right?
So I'm not going to get into it in this week's episode of the show. We can formulate ideas and thoughts later because this just released and I don't have the mental capacity for this right now. But let's just say that pros are already critiquing it because obviously. But again, we're not going to talk about that. Just putting that out there. Okay?
All right.
How'd
you bring it up if we're not going to talk about it?
Because I know what your thought would be as soon as I said what I said. So we're not going to talk about it. GAs, Will. GAs. Justin says, I want a minute on the clock for Will's thoughts.
Yeah.
You get way more than a minute.
I don't know if I'd get to a minute. It's just.
Anyway. Should we go through the situation first?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So I have all this notated down. And I don't have this in the show notes because this would make show notes like extremely long. So I didn't bother. Instead, so there are currently after a massive fucking discussion that happened over the weekend, there are now really going to be 3 GAs or gentlemen's agreements in competitive Halo Infinite. The first one continues to be the Mangler. Now you may be asking yourself, why? Why the Mangler? Why still the Mangler? For those who don't recall, there was an update that had been released to Halo Infinite that reduced the amount of melee damage that was done across the board. Not just with the Mangler, but across the board. And so the question was, well, with that reduction in melee damage, where now it requires a 1-shot 2 melee to kill, or a 2-shot melee, right?
2-shot, then a melee, yeah.
Yeah. So with that in mind, why do we still have the GA for the Mangler? Well, Snakebite, I have 3 different Snakebite examples as to why the Mangler and then the 2 other GAs are being implemented. So for the Mangler, he says, Mangler, even without the drop weapon mechanic, is too strong because of the frequency of spawn, plus being super viable both range or short. So one of the big critiques about the Mangler is that it simply spawns way too frequently. And the amount of ammo that you get, because they didn't reduce the amount of ammo that you have. So they just spawn way too frequently. You have a ton of ammo, and you would just see Manglers all over. Like, that's basically what all the teams would have if it just continued being in competitive Infinite. So they keep the GA with that. Okay, that's fine. I understand the reasoning. Whatever. So the second GA, that again, this was implemented over the weekend, that I believe is being implemented over the weekend. For the record, there has yet to be a tournament with all of this GA. Okay, just the Mangler. The Mangler has continued. But for the other 2, the Sword and then the other one we'll talk about, none of this has been established in tournament play. But from, it sounds like in Money 8s and maybe in scrims and whatnot, these have taken place as of over the weekend. So, the second one is Sword. And personally, just a quick thought before we get into deep here. My personal thought is, I do like this one, especially from a recharge perspective, really because of my complaints that I've talked about previously, where there really doesn't feel like there is any counter to it, and you can't melee trade with it, which really irritates the shit out of me. So Snakebite said, the Sword can't be traded, and obviously with the ability to sprint and equipment and super slide, you become unkillable. And then I added personally that the reason why I said recharge is because Repulsor and Sword spawn basically next to one another on recharge. And therefore, if that player gets both, it takes the counter out of the hands of the player going against the Sword player. So it completely removes the supposed counter to the Sword in and of itself. It's just on that map. And I'm like, full fucking A. And then there was this thread by King Nick. And I wanted to include this because a lot of people were talking about, why didn't you guys fucking GA Sword in any other fucking Halo game? Like, what difference does it make if you GA in Infinite? King Nick, for those who don't know, is very, very knowledgeable in older Halo titles as well. He's not just an Infinite kid, okay? He is very knowledgeable across many Halo titles. Here's what he had to say. How are people trying to compare classic Halo swords to sprint Halo swords? Classic Halo had well-designed maps with risk versus if the sword player played poorly. How is camping a 1x1 corridor and choke point in Infinite remotely comparable? The sword in Infinite is used nothing like the Halo 2 sword. Halo 2 sword is about successfully chaining a sequence of kills without dying, which created the skill gap for that version of the sword. You can fucking suck with the Halo 2 sword. Infinite sword is not comparable at all. In Halo 2, I also spawn with a skillful counter to the sword, BXR. Sword in Infinite is used to lock down choke points way more than it was ever used to do so in any other Halo. It's mostly the map design's fault. If you don't have repulse, you're dead. If you don't have the one counter to the sword, you have to play for trades. You need a disruptor, plasmas, or a teammate to trade the sword player. Trading is not good gameplay. Why are we promoting this? Trading isn't even a mechanic in Halo 2. On the topic of mechanics, I'm sick of people saying things that are blatantly false and perpetuate it as fact to use in an argument. Quote, you can trade with sword in X Halo, end quote. Or, quote, what's next, rockets? They already reduced ammo by half in X Halo, end quote. People are literally just making shit up. I love the sword when it's designed correctly and paired with good maps. It's a staple of competitive Halo. Infinite does not have a good sword or maps. The way the sword works mechanically combined with the corridor map design is objectively bad and promotes camping. Halo 2 rewards good aggressive micro movement with the sword. Infinite rewards defensively sitting in a corner holding a 1x1 door. The sword being in other defensively sitting... Jesus Christ. The sword being in other competitive Halos is irrelevant. I'm playing Infinite, not actual Halo. We tried sword for 8 months and it just isn't good competitively. Do I personally care about GAs? No. I'd use the Mangler tomorrow if we wanted. I just compete on what HCS tells me to play. But don't come at my peers for the correct opinions. Some of the shit I see in my timeline is literally insane. Some people have the worst takes on Halo. So really the reason why I included that is because people are trying to make a comparison to Sword and other Halo titles. It kind of brings back the thing that we talk about all the time where every Halo is different. Like in every Call of Duty, even though it has similar type of gameplay style, every Call of Duty is also different. Things play differently. Maps are designed differently. When you had Clamber introduced in 5 for the first time, right? Maps were created with that mechanic in mind. Maps were created with thrust in mind. The increased in speed that you get from sprinting, sliding, whatever it may be. And then with Infinite, again, on top of that, you have maps that are designed for the mechanics in mind. And based off what Nick is saying there, it sounds like the sword, from a competitive standpoint, just doesn't work out. And then, again, this is before we get into thoughts here. Let's talk about the third one. The third GA that, again, is supposedly going to be a thing is dropping weapons. In the context, now here's the fucking key difference. Drop weapon in the context of the keybind and not the holding of the swap weapon button. Okay? It's a clear distinction there. So Snakebite said, drop weapon stays in, but not the instant drop. So trading weapons for teammates is allowed, but it removes the bailout of being able to use weapons with minimal punishment, aka missing or bad position. Callus, G2 coach, from a different thread, said the following. Can't players just unbind drop weapon? It's still objectively simple in that way. Because there is a simple, when you go into your settings of the game, there is a simple setting that you can change where you can bind your controls, you can bind your keys, and you can just literally deselect it, set it to nothing, and that's that. And Spartan actually said, yep, that's what we're all doing in 8s right now. Everyone in the GA chat agreed to do it over the next week too. And Mick Wren said, not to be confused with Mick Wynn, but Mick Wren said, is going back to holding Y fine, aka swapping weapons. It used to be when it was on the same bind to switch weapon. And Spartan said, yeah, that's what we're doing, but we're not using it as a combat mechanic, only to pass weapons off to teammates. So again, this GA, this gentleman's agreement, is only for the dropping dropping weapon keybind, as in like you click it, you drop your weapon, you switch your BR quick or whatever weapon you have. This is not a GA of the holding down of the swap weapon button or key to then drop a weapon for your teammate, because that is slower. Okay. So here is a timeline of events. And this is to the best of my knowledge, to the best of what I was able to get. And Kleck says, I feel like you're going to lose your shit over the drop weapon one. I'm not. I'm actually not. Believe it or not, I'm not going to rant about this. From a competitive standpoint, believe it or not, I basically agree with everything that's been said. So, but I have concerns, and will, like I said, thoughts in a second. So here's the timeline of events. There is a chat, okay? There is a chat that is comprised of pros from multiple teams, but not all teams and all players, created by, I believe, Spartan, where discussions around competitive Infinite take place. Okay? It's like a private chat, all right? Wonderboy said, screw GAs, Halo Infinite needs a pro mod like COD 4. Nerf nade distance and sound cue, quiet footsteps and reduce noise range, allow melee trades with swords, hold input to drop weapon, decrease aim assist on BR. Spartan says, I concur. I just think Mangler needs to go for Psychic and then I'd be happy. But apparently everyone just wants to bitch and moan about everything. Whatever, I guess, as long as everyone is on the same page, not trying to get screwed over by anybody. I have thoughts on Spartan's bullshit later. Eco says, I promise you no one is going to go rogue. I know we wouldn't. Well, B might. And I think B is for bound. Which I thought was kind of funny, but I said maybe. And Spartan says, whatever, I made the group chat for all the teams. So that's where I got Spartan making this. You guys sort it out. I'll do whatever. If anyone knows me, I'm about competitive integrity. I just don't want to get fucked by someone breaking a GA at Worlds because we have 37 GAs. So within this chat, it appears it was agreed upon the GAing of the above items that we discussed. But there have been a lot of discussion and discourse around the GAing of the drop weapon mechanic and the tuning of said GA. Spartan says, pretty sure we're GAing it as a combat mechanic completely, just using it to toss weapons off to teammates. Okay, that's where we get that from. And then according to Snipedown, while this chat is unanimous in the decision to GA the aforementioned items, the members of the chat cannot dictate the rules for all the players and teams outside of it. Obviously. And this is his direct statement. Unfortunately, the people in the chat don't dictate rules for every team outside of it. That's where people's issues are. The chat is unanimous. Okay? So, Will, I want you to kick this off. What are your thoughts on the 3 GAs that we have?
First off, Collect says B is stellar.
Oh, B is stellar? I'm an idiot.
Um,
Jesus Christ.
The 3 GAs, right?
Is it because of is it Bradley? His name's Bradley, right? Am I wrong? I'm sorry, Will. I'm totally derailing again. Go ahead.
The 3 GAs we have, I do understand them. I don't like that the game is in a position where it has to happen. I also don't like that they made the changes to the game to only have the Mangler still be GA'd. But I kind of go back and forth on, it's viable at short range, it's viable at long range. Well, that long range shot has that drop bullet, it's not 100%, but I get it. Mm-hmm. The sword I'm fine with. It's also on Catalyst, right?
Correct. Yep.
So what's the counter, like a skewer play then? Like you have repulse, grapple.
Repulse. That's what it feels like.
Why isn't the skewer being GA'd? Because it's viable at long range. It's viable in short corridors with its hip fire. I think the skewer should be taken off then too. Even though that's the counter to the overshield.
I think skewer should stay because of its limited ammo capacity, the amount of time it takes to reload it, and how fucking huge that weapon is. Like, I feel that there are... oh, there you go. Because if you miss with the skewer, you're just dead.
Yeah.
And I'm dead all the time, so I'm not a pro player.
It's just like, the point I'm trying to make is, where is it going to stop? Because...
Where's the line? You
could make an argument for a ton of things to go. Realistically.
Shock nades, spike nades. There were a couple other things that I saw circulating.
I mean, I saw
over the weekend.
I saw jokes of, okay, when we GA in the BR.
Right.
Like, right. Let's GA Infinite. Like, but I get it. Trying to make the game as balanced, I guess, as possible
for the competitive crowd.
I
think that really needs to be stated more.
The drop weapon button, it's kind of a fun thing. I don't know.
Okay.
Like seeing pros like just chuck out the weapon and get the final kill with the BR, have to run and pick up that weapon again. I get it that you can be out of position and still get a kill with that, but it's at everybody's disposal. Then it makes fighting for those weapons like the Stalker and whatnot more important.
I think Snakebite said, I think he said something where he is a player who does utilize the drop weapon keybind, but even he understands that it is an inherently broken mechanic in terms of it doesn't take skill to use because it's literally a tap of a button or a tap of a key in order to do it. And yes, while it is milliseconds that we're talking about here in terms of dropping versus holding to drop, or I mean, switching weapons, like we're talking milliseconds between switching weapons versus tapping to drop your weapon. Those milliseconds do matter in a competitive sense, not social.
Yeah.
Obviously. Collect says everyone has good points about drop weapon. It's still in testing. It's pros and cons about it. Okay, so it's not officially a thing. Kitsune, thank you for the follow. Greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I know pretty much all of Optic uses that drop weapon mechanic.
Yeah. You make a good point, though. Like, if everyone can use it, then...
Right. So I don't know. With the limited amount of stuff we have in Infinite, I just don't like to see things get stripped back even more. I think that's where it's coming from mostly, is that there's not enough variety, right? So now you're taking things that add variety to the gameplay out. Even though I get shitty swords kills, like I agree with the sentiment behind it.
So it really makes me mad.
Yeah, you can't trade with it.
Melee trade. It really irks me that you can't melee trade.
So I get why all these things are on the block. I just wish we didn't have to.
Right.
So
Omega says if it's too strong, maybe it's increasing those milliseconds until it's balanced, and the Collect did like an up arrow to that comment. And I think that's why, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's why you guys are testing we're only GAing it as a combat mechanic, so just unbind the keybind in your control settings, and you can still use the hold swap weapon button to then drop your weapon for a teammate.
It's still like, so if it's that thing though, like if you say, so let's say you have stalker streets going up a fucking driveway, and someone gets the first shot on you, since you have the stalker, you cannot then get 2 shot and then drop for the BR kill.
Correct.
With having to hold the button in time before you're forward.
Correct.
Or 5'd.
That's why it's going to only be used from a teammate perspective.
I get that, but it's taking away can't pull that reversal by, you don't have enough time to actually switch to your BR, but then you could just hit the shot with the stalker too. But yeah, it sucks that we're just removing stuff that takes away changes in gameplay that are sometimes exciting. That's basically it. I just don't want to see stuff removed from the game that is there. But I get it that's from the spectator side, right? Mm-hmm. From the competitive integrity side, I get why these changes are being looked at.
Yes.
So
agreed. Collect gave a couple of things here. Also, Pancakes, welcome. Good to see you. He says, for example, with Stalker, you could hit 2 shots, miss the next 4, but you could drop your gun and get the kill. That was one. He says, or some kills you can get 6-shot commando and drop your gun and win the gunfight. If you were to just press Y and switch your gun, you would lose it. And then Epic asked him, are you for or against drop weapon? And Collect said, it really doesn't bother me. I get why it should be taken out, but I also understand why it would stay in. So there you go as well. Yeah. Remedy, good to see you as well. And yeah, Omega says, I can see it happening on accident in the heat of the moment. No one will unbind it as it's a must for juggling. So in Epic, it's like juggling can be done with Y button and not drop weapon bind though. And I agree. That's what I do. I never. No,
but I think there is a difference. there's like a quick juggle. I've seen people do it where it's like drop, pick up real quick.
Oh, maybe there is.
Because you don't have to hold the Y then to drop the flag.
Sure. Well, you don't have to hold the Y to drop the flag either. You just press it. That's all you got to do. It's like you're just swapping weapons.
Oh.
Yeah, that's all it is. But either way, it's... Okay, so here is what I've got. Also, apologize for the spam notifications in Discord for the going live and shit. Okay. So yeah, the drop weapon thing for me is kind of the most difficult to get down. And Collect said that it's still in testing, so that's good to know because I thought it was just these three are implemented now and that's the way it is. My concern is, and these are the concerns that I've had ever since the first GA with the Mangler, is that, well, what happens if somebody uses it? What happens if somebody uses it at Orlando? What happens if somebody uses it at Worlds? What happens if somebody wins a tournament while using it? Are we going to invalidate their tournament win? No. Because they won the fucking tournament. Who cares? So that's kind of where my problem is with all the GAs. I necessarily don't have a problem with them being implemented because I want what the players want because I just enjoy watching high-level competitive Halo. And so if they... Now, granted, I would be of a different mindset if they just wanted to GA everything except the BR, and then we go back to Halo 2 level shit. And I'm like, well, I love Halo 2. I don't want that anymore. You know what I mean? And you're right. I don't want to see them continue to do things. And Miquin said something that I should have put the tweet in here, but I didn't. But he talked about how he was just expecting players to GA stuff until they were fixed dev side, right? But then that really didn't happen, and then we had like a shrug emoji, you know? Like clearly they have other things in mind, and things aren't being done there. And the other thing is with the Mangler, 343, the development side of it, didn't do what the competitive side asked for. And I'm not saying they need to. They don't need to listen to just one side of the conversation here. But when they nerfed the melee of all weapons, like that was the polar opposite of what competitive wanted, which was just tweak the Mangler. Like that was it.
It seems like the bigger sentiment now is just put a sidekick in.
Yeah. From a pro standpoint, absolutely. Yeah. Especially Spartan standpoint. So I am fine with the GAs being implemented because I want the players to play the game. I want the players to play high level competitive Halo, and I hope we don't go too far. And the drop weapon one feels to me like this is the one of most contention. This is the one where how are we going to make sure everybody is following this? Because that just brings me back to my question. What if somebody doesn't? What are you going to do? Are you going to stand up and call them out across the stage? Are you going to shun that individual? You can't ban them. You can't ban them from playing the game anymore. Are you going to not scrim with them? We've seen teams not scrim with other teams as it is because they don't want to scrim with them anyway. You know? Like, I get it. It's a gentleman's agreement for a reason. It's an agreement among folks that this is how the thing is going to be. And if you don't abide by it, then yeah, we'll basically shun you. But the sword, absolutely. I feel that fucker's just, I hate it from a social perspective. And yeah, I'm fine with it being GA. The Mangler GA, I guess it's fine that it continues. I understand because of the drop weapon mechanic that it can be nasty along with the amount of ammo that you get and how frequent it spawns. Completely makes sense still from a competitive standpoint to GA it. And then the drop weapon one, I'm just conflicted on because at the one hand, while it doesn't take skill to use, Will, bouncing off your point about like the stalker rifle scenario on streets, well, it isn't necessarily a skill gap because I don't want it to be considered a skill gap, because it's not. It does add flavor to a game, you know? And in that situation, while it does suck for the other player on the other side of things, if I saw a player go up with Stalker on B steps on streets, gets a couple shots in, is about to get killed, gets the drop, spins around, finishes off for the reversal, I look at that like, oh shit. Sure, it didn't take skill to use the drop weapon mechanic, but oh shit, that was kind of cool. From a spectator standpoint, obviously not from a playing standpoint. You guys deserve to play how you want to play. So yeah, that question is, when is the line crossed for GAs? When do the pros say enough is enough? Because clearly I've seen pros out there say that enough is enough already, you know? And the other thing, and I'm glad that Snipe Down brought it up, is that not every player, not every organization is included in this private chat that's going on about dictating how competitive Halo is being played. So while that private chat may all be unanimous in agreeing with what the GAs are going to be, if you don't have everybody on the same page or everybody included that is competing at a top level, that to me is inherently a problem. Now, would that be a lot to maintain? Absolutely. But then again, it's your game that you're playing. You are tweaking the game to how you want to play it. And I think there needs to be a discussion, if there hasn't already been, about what about the players who disagree? What about the pro players? Okay? We love the amateur players around here. It's what a lot of our show is based off of, don't get me wrong. But if I'm talking from a strictly professional player standpoint, if not every pro player is included within this discussion, I think there's a problem there. And I think that needs to be remedied. Because if you don't have everybody on the same page, like I said, what are you going to do in a tournament setting if somebody does this? You can't not play them. Are you just going to scream at them and be like, oh, you fucking did something you weren't supposed to do? Why? Because you guys all agreed this, but I didn't agree with this? Why is that inherently my fault?
I have a feeling that chat is probably like your top 6 to 8 teams, right?
I would assume.
So it's like you might see drop weapon between, on Friday and Saturday. Mm-hmm. But then your teams that are in Champ Sunday, when it comes down to it, are all in agreement on this is what we should do.
Mm-hmm. Sure. And if that's the case, so be it. It's just the thing that I don't want to see, and Collect, I'll wait for your response as well. The thing that I don't want to see is if a team, because I can just see it now, those who attend LAN events, spectators who attend LAN events, I would say the majority of them, not all of them, but the majority of them are kind of tuned into the things that are happening, right? Because otherwise, why the fuck would you spend money on being here to see these players play live?
Yeah.
I can just see it now. A player on a team, open bracket, doesn't fucking matter. Main stage, doesn't matter. Feature station, doesn't matter. Uses it. Uses drop weapon. Uses the mangler. Uses the sword. Uses whatever GA it is, right? What's the crowd gonna do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, remember when we had the discussion long time ago, Will, where it's part of the fucking game. Use it. You know? When Mangler was first in the discussions about being G8, it's part of the sandbox. Why not just use it? And I have seen pro players come out and say, I'm still going to use it. Like, I don't care. You know?
Right.
Collect says, what happens if somehow some AM team makes it through, then they use it? That's the tough thing. Like, you can't control everyone to use it besides the people who were involved. Absolutely. And that's my point. That's my point. Is that you can't expect everybody to fall in line. It feels to me, I'm not trying to ruffle people's feathers when I say what I'm about to say, but it feels like Spartan had created this chat and now it has evolved a little bit into like a governing party for competitive Halo. And if you're not in it, you're out of it. Like if you're not with it, you're against it. And I feel there needs to be more discussion. We're literally talking about mechanics in a game. Now, granted, this mechanic is inherently, maybe it wasn't developed with this intention in mind of dropping to get an advantage in a kill, but really, it really felt like when they talked about it, when the devs talked about it in their videos, they talked about it as a means to drop a weapon for a teammate. Right,
like tossing the sniper. There's a achievement, isn't there, for giving a teammate a sniper?
I believe so, something like that. Yeah, that's the thing. It sounds like it was talked about from a development standpoint to be used as a team scenario to give teammates weapons because it had never been introduced in any other Halo title. It's the first time it's ever been a thing. And then we find out that this thing can be abused in a sense that we can get the upper hand in kills. And I'm not saying it's a insta win, but it kind of feels like a get out of jail free card. So take that as you will. But if not everybody is in agreement, can you really do anything about it? You could shun them, sure. But what good is that going to do you? Like I've seen players say, well, I think it was Eli Elite. Or someone of G1, I believe, was talking about how, or Eli the Ninja. It was Eli the Ninja. My apologies. He was talking about how they play the game based on the rules that HCS lines out. And if that's the way it is, that's the way it is, right? HCS is not choosing these GAs. The players are. And again, I am of a mindset where I want the players to feel like they have an identity, they have a voice, and in order to kind of form things around how they feel the most competitive version of their game can be played. And as of right now, that's GAs. Because the devs aren't able to do things as fast as the players would like. And I'm also of a firm belief that once Forge finally gets released and it's completed, like it is actually out the door, it's fully functional, everything's great, then we can then work on, we can remove Sword from Recharge. We can replace it with something else. We can remove Sword from Catalyst if we want to replace it with something else. We can remove Manglers, replace them with Sidekicks, right? Once Forge releases, it feels like all of these things can be put away. The drop weapon thing's a whole other situation, but that's besides the point. Once Forge releases, I really feel, I said it before, Forge I don't think is going to save Halo Infinite. Forge could really help competitive Halo Infinite, though. And then on the other side of things here, another question that I posed was, why now? Why wasn't this decided after Raleigh? Why wasn't this decided after Anaheim? Why are people deciding that now is the right time to implement additional GAs before Orlando and Worlds? These may be redundant questions, but still, I feel like all these could have been determined easily after Anaheim, regardless of Catalyst, with Sword being added for far later. Sword's always been on Recharge. You've always had the drop weapon mechanic. And we've always had the Mangler GA. So, like, why now? I don't understand. I mean, someone said it when we read through earlier, like in the notes that I had, that someone said this, like, why didn't we do this earlier? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out. What's up, Cinder? How's it going? Welcome. And thank you for the follow. It just seems really weird to me that now we're making the decision to GA this stuff when we're literally right around the corner for Orlando and then literally right around the corner for Worlds. That seems weird to me. So then I asked myself the question, will the HCS accept GAs? Regardless of the GA? And luckily, we kind of have a response to this. Because Tashi was streaming the other day, and I apologize for not getting the name. Oh, I do have the name. I have it right here. Shout out to Mother Chocolate 505 on Reddit for, for getting the clip of what Tashi said. So I want to play that clip for you guys right here, right now. And again, this is Tashi's thoughts on players GAing things in competitive Infinite.
Talking about this stuff. Ultimately, we just need to get updates out the door to try to balance these things. So, I don't necessarily blame pros for, trying to do what they can to uphold the balance. If, honestly, we haven't upheld our end of the bargain, so I don't blame them. Ultimately, I don't think GAs are good for the scene, but they're, in my mind, a symptom of a bigger problem that we need to solve. So.
I don't know if you guys could really hear that well. I apologize if not. But he said that while he may not agree with GAs, he does understand. And he understands that devs have work that they need to do. Things aren't going out as quickly as people would like. And yeah, it's really that. So from the sounds of it, it sounds like they're not going to necessarily interfere.
Yeah.
Omega says it was okay. Okay. I'm sorry. It was as loud as I could get it to go, so I apologize. So at least we got somewhat of a response from that. And then here is where 11 Ninja comes in, because then I asked myself the question, should GAs even be acceptable? Right? It's not technically part of the game. Should it be acceptable? 11 Ninja, the G1 of G1 said, if HCS decides to turn it off in ranked settings, we're totally cool with that. But if that precedent isn't set, we shouldn't be playing different versions of the game from series to series based on who is down and who isn't. Hoaxer, regarding drop weapon, said, I'm pointing out that it is objectively the easiest GA to implement if there is a GA. It's not a deep topic regarding this one. As in, you can just turn off the keybind. Bob's your uncle. And then 11 Ninja said, yeah, I really don't think HCS is going to like people just going into the custom game settings and changing whatever they want. So while it doesn't sound like Tashi would necessarily interfere, that's another thing, right? If not everyone is on the same page, and that's also another thing, and as we've heard from those that work in the scene, you can't trust all the players to have their settings ready to go all the time. So they're going to be sitting there for an extended period of time, making sure that every single person has drop weapon, the keybind removed. I can just see it getting really, really messy. And I don't know how I necessarily feel about that. So GAs as a whole, I'm proud of myself for not ranting, by the way. GAs as a whole, I want to know where that line is. I don't think we necessarily crossed it yet. The drop weapon one does feel like we're inching closer to that line. Because jokes aside, yeah, I saw the memes oh, why don't we just remove everything except the BR, blah, blah, blah. We are still waiting on development updates. Things are not where we as a community want them to be necessarily. And they still have a lot of back-end stuff that's going, back-end issues that are happening, right? Desync, ping, all that stuff, CSR, MMR, all that. A lot of stuff that still needs to be worked on. A lot of kinks to be ironed out. So as of right now, fine with Mangler still. Happy necessarily with Sword, because I feel like that, I hate that you can't melee trade with the Sword. And then drop weapon may not be as what the developers intended to be used for. But regardless, it doesn't add to the skill gap in the game. If anything, it reduces it. And kind of does feel like a get out of jail free card. If I could speak, for Christ's sake. So yeah, I'm fine with these GAs as a whole. But again, my only question is, what happens if somebody breaks it? And we'll just have to wait and see. I think that's it for our topic, Will.
Yeah.
Let's get into some regular news. Halo Lone Wolves gear is by Halo Gear. Calling all Halo Lone Wolves. Gear up with Season 2 provisions only in the Halo Gear shop. You go ahead and buy it if you're interested. August matchmaking updates by
Unisec.
Thank you, Will. The ranked experience. In preparation for ranked doubles, we'll be updating how we determine skill, MMR, which will help us make better matches and improve the accuracy of CSR ranks. This will require additional maintenance that involves resetting CSR ranks. So yes, when the update releases tomorrow, because we record on Mondays, your CSR rank will be reset. We plan on deploying these changes early on August 23rd, with the maintenance window lasting a few hours. During this time, Ranked Arena will not be available, though all other playlists and online services should be available. I'm going to put emphasis on should. In the days leading up to the maintenance window, we will have two other small changes rolling out as well. The first change, which has started today, as in the day that post was made, not actually today, is a small ranked experiment with CSR that will be running until we close out this current ranked period. The impact should be minimal, but it will help us gather information for potential future ranked improvements. The second change is that the Fireteam CSR limit, which has currently been active in both solo duo playlists, okay? So it has not been in crossplay for like squads or whatever, okay? Will begin to take effect in open crossplay starting Monday, August 22nd. So that is today. I thought it had already been a thing.
Yeah, because there was a day I had 2 diamonds, a platinum, and then a gold tried to join us. And it would give you like the Halo servers are unavailable in the bottom, and you couldn't search. I've had that. It's been there.
Calling Uni a liar? Just kidding.
I don't think the shit's straight with the game. That's what's going on.
A lot of shit's not straight with the game. So apparently, that'll begin to take effect in open crossplay starting Monday, August 22nd.
Apparently.
To learn more about the Fireteam CSR limit and how broken it is, please visit the page on Halo Support site that they link in their document, that you can find a link to in the Google Doc of the show notes of the show, ! Show notes in chat. Whew. Collect, I will right after this. And then playlist offerings. This is fun too. Next Tuesday, as in tomorrow, we'll also bring about the addition of 2 new playlists, ranked doubles and team doubles, in order to help make room for these 2 new additions, because the UI can't support additional playlists, Will. The last Spartan standing playlist will be rotating out of the lineup. As with all playlists, we will continue to monitor their individual health in addition to the health of the entire matchmaking experience. If all of these playlists perform well, we will continue experimenting with adding or rotating more playlists in the future. So if you wanted to stay, you gotta play. Since that was quite a bit of info all in one place, yeah, 3 paragraphs is a shit ton, here's a quick summary of the timeline for the matchmaking updates. Friday, August 19th, the ranked experiment begins. It should have a minimal player-facing impact, but from what I've been seeing in our Discord, it's a lot of impact. Monday, August 22nd at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Fireteam CSR limit apparently applies to open crossplay, if it wasn't already there to begin with. Tuesday, August 23rd at 10 a.m. Pacific time, the CSR rank reset occurs and the ranked maintenance begins, taking Ranked Arena offline for approximately 3 hours or so, where everything else should, wink, be available. Tuesday, August 23rd at 10 a.m. Pacific time as well, team doubles for social goes live with 11 a.m. Pacific time. Last Spartan standing getting the fuck out of there. And at 1 p.m. Pacific time, ranked arena, ranked doubles, and team doubles come online. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Now, from what I heard, I forget which community member like of 343 or dev of 343 said this, but apparently Last Spartan Standing did have abysmal population rating in comparison to all other playlists.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, they're being serious. All jokes aside, they're being serious. If you want something to stay, or if you want more playlists to be added, rotated, whatever it is, as dire of a straight this game is right now, you need to fucking play it. And we already know how bad the population numbers apparently are, but that's besides the point. Will, that's it for the regular news. Whoa, what?
Well, all right.
I mean, okay, yep. Okay, Condoler Games Watch. Collect, are you serious? Okay. Optic causes chaos. I was going to say mayhem. I was really close to saying mayhem, and I apologize I didn't say mayhem.
It's all good.
Optic causes chaos by Optic Texas. I could not believe what I fucking saw over the weekend, along with thousands of other people. Couldn't believe what the fuck was being seen, because apparently Dashy and Illy hit free agency. And the tweets were, for Dashy, always been family since the day you joined Optic. Thank you, Dashy. Wishing you the best in everything. And then Illy, through the highs and lows of this season, always doing, quote, whatever it takes, end quote. Thank you for representing Optic well, Illy. Good luck to what's next. And then shortly thereafter, Optic then re-signed everyone and put out a tweet that said, back for 22-23, hashtag MW2, Scup, Dashy, Shotzi, and Illy. And then I have another clip about Scump explaining the situation. And I think this provides amazing context. Okay? This is great. This is what I wanted to hear. All right? Here is Scump explaining the Optic situation with the free agencies and then re-signing everyone here. And this should actually obviously be louder because Scump is a louder talker. Here we go.
Put as I can put it. We were thinking about making changes, and then we decided we didn't want to make changes. And the reason for that is because Ender was hurt all year, and a lot of our teams...
Ender is Illy, by the way. Illy had a thumb injury that took place, and that really fucked up their Vanguard season. That's context.
Internal issues and problems came from Ender being hurt. Now, I don't want to really go into it too much because I want Ender to be able to say his piece about his injury. But people don't even understand like the half of what our team went through this year. I'm not even going to lie. But we're running it back. We got in the call together after the first tweets where they said they were restricted free agents or whatever. We all got into a call together. We hashed out a lot of our issues. We had a few calls together, and we made sure like everyone was on board to run it back and to actually fix our problems next year. Simply.
So there you go.
All right.
It's funny what happens when teammates talk together and work together.
Yeah, just get your shit out there. Open communication.
As a fucking team, ladies and gentlemen.
There's more here than I thought.
Yeah, the Valorant thing, because that's fucking cool. I just wanted to talk about that because it's fucking cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, Optic re-signed everybody. Everybody's back. They're running it back. And hopefully Illy's thumb is fucking good because that sucks. Like, I remember when Pistola had an injured finger and he was basically unable to do anything either. When you play a controller-based game, that hinders how you fucking play. And actually, Illy actually played through a lot of it. So good to hear an explanation from Scump. Shotzi also put out a statement that basically said around the same thing. So yeah, there's that. Really fucking cool to see and good for them. Arcity's actually a free agent. So he put out a tweet that says restricted free agent, I think. So, of Atlanta FaZe, for those who don't recall. We'll see what apparently happens there. And then ASIM actually entered free agency, unfortunately. He says restricted free agent for the 2022 season. And then there was a tweet about the supposed LA Gorillas roster where, or was it LAG? Where I think Arcity's was on that roster. So that could be a thing. Who knows? And then this, again, is really cool. I really wanted to talk about this just at the tail end of COD and Other Games Watch. We have introducing the Valorant Challengers 2023. This is by Magus over on the Valorant website. And they state, as the Valorant Champions Tour enters 2023, we're excited to share how the regional Challengers circuit will grow alongside the expansion of our sport. Challengers will play an important role, surfacing up-and-coming talent critical for the long-term success of Valorant, testing teams aspiring to play in the international leagues, and bridging the sport and the game. Next year, we'll be expanding Challengers to cover more players in more regions. Additionally, teams that start in Challengers will have a pathway into the international leagues and eventually even global events. The system will surface the up-and-coming stars through a fully connected ecosystem with larger events, new tournaments, and high stakes. And that in and of itself sounds awesome. But it just gets better. The new and expanded Challenger ecosystem. In 2023, Challengers will encompass more than 20 leagues around the world, ensuring every Valorant player has a path to realize their competitive dreams. These Challenger Leagues will provide highly organized competitions that begin with open qualifiers and ladder the best teams into 2 splits of multi-week regular season play. Each Challenger split will culminate in a playoff tournament where a single team will be crowned as that league's champion. To ensure that these players and teams receive the attention their skills deserve, the biggest Challenger Leagues will receive dedicated broadcast windows that will be scheduled to avoid conflicts with international league matches. Fucking awesome. Introducing Challengers Ascension. Providing aspirational goals is imperative to ensuring the most talented teams and pros in esports select Valorant as the game where they dedicate their time and effort. Next year, Challengers Leagues within each of the 3 territories will culminate in a new event series that will crown the best team in their territory. Teams who secure victory at the 3 Challengers Ascension tournaments will earn a spot in the following year's International League. So there's your pathway to get into the big leagues. And then promotion in the international leagues. Each year, international leagues will expand by 1 team until hitting a cap of 14 teams in 2027. Great roadmap there. Teams who win Challengers Ascension will earn a 2-year promotion into their territory's international league. Promoted teams will have the opportunity to prove themselves against the international league teams during the VCT season, receive similar league benefits, and an equal chance to qualify into Masters and Champions. After 2 years, teams will return to their league to battle their way back through Challengers and Ascension tournaments. And the journey begins. We believe that the path to champion should begin directly within Valorant. Earlier this year, we shared the initial details for an in-game competitive system for you and your teammates that goes beyond ranked. The Valorant dev team is focused on ensuring the core experience meets the expectations of players at scale. We have huge ambitions for integrating the system directly into the VCT. Looking ahead into 2024, the top teams emerging from this system will get a chance to qualify directly from the game into Challengers. We want to create a seamless connection between Valorant and the VCT at a global scale through a bridge of make-or-break moments where the lowest-ranked Challenger teams have to defend their place against the newest batch of online superstars. We'll have more to share on the system before the end of the year. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what this is where the hopium comes into play, where I really hope Infinite has something or anything like this. I know, but like, it is Riot Games we're talking about here.
Yeah,
We're small fry.
Mm-hmm.
I just love what they're doing. Love what they're doing. I think it's great. And we can move on. That's it for Cotton of the Game Watch. It's time for Will's Adventures with the Nailovers. Games 2. To keep with the spooky thing from earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you got me. Will, what'd you play over the last week?
Same shit. Apex Infinite.
Same shit, different day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's about it. What about you?
I played Fortnite. I got second place once. That felt cool. I got Kamehameha for the final death. That sucked, but it was fun. No build mode is awesome in that video game. I played Apex Legends with you.
Yeah.
And Joe. Unfortunately, we didn't get a win, but I still had fun because it's fun playing with buds.
Yeah.
Halo MCC for the community playdate. We played Halo 1 and Halo 3, and honestly, it was a ton of fun. It was an absolute blasty blast, and I actually had more kills than Silos in a Halo 1 game once. But I'm taking it to my grave, baby. And then I played some Horizon Forbidden West because that game came up in the conversation during the playdate, and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking play some more of that game, so I did. That's it. Well, let's get into some shoutouts. Shout out to everyone who joined the community playdate. Like I said, it was a fun time. I think we had a little bit of some pancakes in there. I think we had some Silos in there. I think we had some Josh in there. And yeah, it was a fun time. Shout out to everyone who followed and subbed during the live show. We have Calais, Prof Feezy, fucking shout out to you, SWAT Nation. You know what it is. Hemvar, Kitsune, and Cinderisis. I apologize if I mispronounced any of those. Thank you all so very much for the follows. And then Uncle Pumpy and Raider Hater with the 3 and 9 month resubs respectively. Thank you both very much. You guys get woos. Happy belated birthday to Batchford. Happy belated birthday to you. And then happy supposed birthday to Renegade.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I think I know. If what I saw is correct, then I'm going to say happy birthday to Renegade. If what I saw is incorrect, then I apologize that it's not your birthday. But either way, shout out Renegade. Community creations, Halo memes every day. Reddit.com/r/Halo memes. Check them out. They're still going strong. Spotlight, the community spotlight for August 18th, 2022 by Alex Wakeford over on HaloWaypoint.com. It is his B-Day. Thank you, Collect. Happy birthday, Renegade. Jesus Christ. And then Phase to G1. First grand finals at Halo Infinite. It's a little vloggy type deal by Boo Boo Doo Boo. Back on the content. You'll love to see it. Go check that video out. Will, that's all I got. And that's all I got for the show. And Collect. Holy fucking shit. Well, without further ado, if you wouldn't mind, plug in the show.
Find us on your favorite podcast services, like Josh's.
Pocket Cast.
Join our Discord. Go find us on Twitter. We also have an Instagram and Facebook. Go check us out on YouTube for the VODs. If you want to watch us live, we're on Twitch, twitch.tv/HCS Pro Talk. We have a website, hcsprotalk.com, with a link to the merch in the top right corner.
Buy the new shirt. Merch, baby!
And then don't forget about the fine folks over at Podcast Evolve. Make sure to check out evolvedhalo.com.
Your home for Halo!
With their great shows called Podcast Evolve, Mission Debrief, Halo TV Plus, Book Club, Build with Blocks, and Halo Headlines.
Halo Gear Guide.
And Halo Gear Guide. Yes. So go check them out. And we have our own little tab over there as well. So appreciate those guys and gals.
Yes. Shout out Chris.
I kind of use those guys as a general everybody term.
Yeah.
You got to specify too.
No, you're good. You're good.
That's all I got, Josh.
Will, thank you so very much. And thank you for dealing with me through my entire rant today. I appreciate it as always. You know me, I'm just emotional guy.
All good.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it. And I also, before I even get to the outro here, I want to apologize for the technical difficulties that we had for the show as well, especially when we were right in the middle of the conversation. sometimes OBS or Twitch can be fucky. You know, it's the nature of live streaming. It does suck. But hey, if you're checking out the VOD version of the show, then you probably won't be dealing with any of that because it's all be snipped together, all neat and tidy like. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with us for this episode 249. One away from 250. I have some things brewing up, not for 250, but just in general. And I'm excited to get the ball rolling on those things. And yeah, if you're tuning in live, thank you so much for hanging out with us, adding to the conversation. Appreciate you guys being here. As always, it's greatly appreciated. Thank you all for the follows and the subs and just hanging out, having a good time, and dealing with me ranting, of course. If you're tuning into the VOD or the audio version of the show, thank you as well. Taking the time out of your day, week, month, whatever it may be, taking the time to listen or watch the show. Again, I'm a broken record at this point, but I really do fucking appreciate it. Thank you so very much for doing so. Guys, we'll be back next week. We'll fucking see what happens. It could be something. Wow. Until next week, have a great night. We'll talk to you later. But until then, stay tuned. Bye-bye.